Welcome everyone to this regularly scheduled board meeting of the South Tahoe Public Utility District. If you would all please stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank all of you for either coming or dialing in, whichever one you did. Do we have any comments from the audience on non-agenda items? Okay, let's see that. How about, does anyone have, by the way, Nick, are you there? Did you figure out how to unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any corrections to the agenda or consent calendar? And it's very silent, so I will move we adopt the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Director Cephalou?
Yes.
President Vogelsang?
Yes.
Director Sheehan?
Yes.
Director Ensline?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously.
Okay, first up on the action is, as you all know, we're going to have a special meeting to interview people to appoint a director to fill seat number 2. And the reason I wanted to put this on the agenda, I wanted to get the board's idea of how the structure of that session will go, what questions we ask, how many minutes we're going to limit each candidate to. And so that's it in a nutshell. We have 9 applicants. Some of the names we know, some of them I don't know, but somebody knows all the names. So 9 times we have to figure out, how long we give the candidate a fair amount of time to inform us of who they are, what visions they have, what their experience is, but also limit the time so that we aren't here all day. So that's one of the reasons I want to discuss. There's some sample questions here that I think we should pare down to either 2 or 3 of them in the interest of time. And I think in a couple of questions we could probably find out everything we need to know from these candidates. Also, they submitted a resume, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it looks like, yes, I just dig down my folder here.
There's a letter of interest.
We have a letter of interest, so we will have a good amount of background by reading these before that meeting. My other thought was, by picking the questions ahead of time and picking time limits, I thought it would be a good idea to give that to each of the candidates up front so they had a chance to kind of think through their answers and could give us a very well thought out and succinct reply. Plus, having these out front doesn't hinder the first guy who gets them blind and everybody else gets a little bit of time to think about them. So, anybody have any thoughts or comments?
So are you thinking like a time limit to respond to each question?
Yeah, 27 seconds. Brevity is the soul of wit. Well, I'm just thinking times 9, right?
Yeah.
If everybody had 10 minutes total, that's 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. And that doesn't account for the exchanges on, which means it's going to be a 2-hour process probably. So, like I said, I want it to be a balance between letting them feel that they have the opportunity to give a response, let us know who they are and what they want, with just not dragging on forever. So, do you guys want to start by picking a couple of questions that we thought?
I already picked.
Well, by the way, these 7 questions, we don't have to limit ourselves to these.
And I didn't have any.
We can pick. And Nick, did you get a copy of this?
I did, yeah. I reviewed it, and I'm essentially in line with you, Randy, in that, limited time frame, get people to give, kind of an opening statement, 1-2 questions, limited to 1 to 2 minutes per response, and then have that be it. as far as which questions we select, I'm actually really open as to what we think is most important. Because what I found is it's not necessarily the particular question, it's how they answer it anyway. So if there's something that staff or the board would really like to have the people applying for the position to respond to, I'm open to what that would be.
Okay, anybody want to jump out there with a question they like? Kelly, you said you had.
Yeah, what'd you pick, Kelly?
I picked, I gotta think about it. You know, it's now. Yeah, number one.
Why are you seeking this interim board appointment? That's a good one.
Number 2, and number 7. I believe are the ones I think. Yeah.
And 2 is what knowledge and experience will you bring to the board? And 7 is what goals do you have for the district and how do you see yourself advancing them?
I kind of like number 3 too, though.
Kelly wants to tie the whole day up.
No, I don't.
So basically you don't like 4 by 8. But they're open to that. I don't really care either.
Like it kind of reminds me of when you're watching a political debate. The questions don't really matter because the candidate generally tells you what they want to say no matter what. You ever notice that?
I mean, they steer themselves.
Yeah, they steer themselves in that direction. I have a feeling that's what will happen here. So, I think number 2 is already covered in the resumes, and so I would have no problem with 1 and 7. I mean, I don't know what you think, Chris, or you think. Well, Nick already said he's kind of open on this.
Yeah, I'm okay with those. Just 2.
Yeah.
20.
So number 1 and number 7, that's what we're liking.
Let's start out with an opening statement.
Yeah. Okay. So if we did a 2-minute opener and 2 minutes for each question, do you feel that's too limiting? That'd be 6 minutes a candidate.
No. Not being too limiting. I mean, if you can't say what you need to say in 6 minutes, either 2 of those.
We definitely do like a short to the point board meetings, don't we?
Matter of fact, that could be the tracker. Go past that one, you're automatic.
Do we
Sorry.
want- does the board
Joking
wanna-
again.
Does the board want to leave any time for the candidates to ask questions of the board? Or is that's generally something that's done in an interview, but it doesn't have to be done here?
Well, how about if we do this? If they feel they've got certain questions for us, they've always had the ability to switch within that 2-minute period and ask us a question. I have no problem with answering questions.
Not at all.
And then when we did this in 2001, there was about a 5-minute, in between just getting the next person up and, cued in and,
I think we can shorten that time frame.
You got 4 minutes.
I think-
Cracked up in.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long to walk from the chair to the podium.
However long it takes, I mean, like, it takes.
Yeah, but generally,
Yeah,
2
in
minutes
itself.
question, 2 minutes for the open.
Yeah, and I know, look, I can see it's like, well, 2 minutes isn't very long. Well, it's 6 minutes total. I think that's a good amount of time to kind of say what you want. 6 times 9, 54 minutes. So it will be an hour and a half before we,
Maybe the option to call in as well.
If they would prefer to call in, they can do that.
Okay,
Given
okay.
these times.
Right.
I don't know if we can do any kind of Zoom type of thing where we can get a
Well,
video, but.
I think the county's about ready to go to the next level.
Yeah.
I would like to see us go as soon as we can, within safety and feasibility. I'd like to open the doors up again and get everybody in here as soon as possible.
Except for me, because I'll be in San Francisco.
Yeah. So Chris will be.
Yeah, I will be available from 9 until 1:30, but I will not be here.
So we call in. Nick,
I would have to.
are you planning to call in for this on the 11th, Nick, or are you planning to be here in person?
I mean, right now I'd say I was calling in, but I'm just going to be real. I don't know what, to some degree, as this continues to go forward, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'd say call in with my hope is, every day I hope that Yeah, I just say call in for right now with my hope that I can change that before the 11th.
It's reasonable.
Okay, anything else you guys think we need to cover on this, the structure of the interviews and all that? You know that we basically, oh, that's what I wanted to ask you, Melanie.
Randy?
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, this is Gary. You probably need all the board members present for the voting because it's by ballot.
Well, that was going to be my very next question to Melanie. How do we do a ballot with someone on the phone?
Right. Well, so obviously the ballots are in person, but
Can we text you?
yeah, did we not do a voice ballot?
Well, no, I think the idea is we write it down, pass it to you. You tell us if we have 3 votes for one candidate, or if we don't, and then we continue the process. I kind of like Chris. Is that right, Gary?
Well, that's correct because the idea is so the candidates don't know who's voting for who to keep that blind.
Can we use Chris's suggestion that they could text Melanie?
I would say email would be best.
Or-
So then I have a record of it.
Or send an email for the vote? Would that work, Gary?
Unless you move the day of the meeting, I won't be here.
That would probably be okay if that went to Melanie.
Okay, and then that's my next question. You know, this meeting's a special meeting. We could set it on any day we want to.
Well, it was originally planned for the 11th, right? But
Yeah.
my schedule, I'm actually working until the 12th. So, I mean, I wouldn't be back till the 12th. But it doesn't matter.
The 11th is.
If we can do it on the 11th, let's just do it.
Thursday.
It's a Thursday. Are you going to be here Wednesday? No.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, on.
So just call in.
And then you start.
But I do happen to have 4 hours where I'm sitting,
Right.
so it's just strictly nothing where I could call in and email you my response.
Right.
You just have to wait till it pops up on your screen.
Right.
But
That's-
it'll be that simple.
Yes, exactly. No, it's true.
Okay.
And that way, Nick doesn't have to come if he doesn't want to, and we can do it that way.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and proceed that way.
So the 2 of you will be here physically. Sephalou and Exline will be calling in and then emailing me their ballot selection.
Okay, that's how we work.
Can they email and be on the call at the same time?
I don't know. You're asking the most technical, least technical answer.
Yeah,
That's
you
first
can.
one.
You can drop out of
I
that
don't have a
app.
problem with the texting. If that's easier, if that works better for the 2 of you, I'm fine with that.
You can always screenshot the text and
Yeah, that's true.
email it to yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I'll be able to email Melanie. I got like 4 things I can email from sitting on my lap right now. So I can get you an email or text or whatever you want.
Okay.
Well, we can confirm that process, you know.
I can do it too.
You can do email also.
And if it doesn't work, I'll give you your phone number just in case.
You'll have my phone number, you can text me, you can email, you can do both, fine.
Okay.
And just keeping in mind this whole process, the interview, everything will be done in open session.
Right.
There will be no-
Well, that's why I kind of wanted to get the questions out there now, and I'd like you to, of course, fill in all email or however you communicate with all the candidates, what the process will be, what the questions will be, all that.
And I will confirm, so I've already confirmed with El Dorado County, everyone is verified that they are registered within the district boundaries, so they're all qualified. And when I put the agenda together for the special meeting, in there will be the interview times for everybody, so I'll confirm that with them in the next 24 hours, if that's solidified.
So I think we're pretty much done with this subject. I did want to just say one quick thing is I actually read the policy manual, which was a mistake. And if I'm reading this right, and if I read this right, this term is only, first of all, it's only until the next election. Whoever gets picked has to be up for re-election. And that term is only 2 years. Now, Gary, you're looking into this, and this will be a subject for another conversation, but I would like to see if we could change that. I have some suggestions, and maybe you too, Gary.
Randy, I think your interpretation is correct. In our reading of the statute, I know Mel and I talked about it this morning a little bit. We will need to confirm some stuff with the El Dorado County Elections Office, but that's something that we can work on and resolve and finalize later on. far as the appointment, the appointment is just until the who's ever elected in November is qualified in December. So that will be, anything else will be unaffected by what you're doing right now.
I agree with that, Gary. I brought it up now because I do think we probably should figure out what exactly it is before the next election filing time. That way, when somebody files, they know what they're filing for.
Yes, but we need to get that figured out and confirmed with El Dorado County because they need that on their forms and stuff that they print.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Why wouldn't that be to fill the remainder of Jim's seat? Like, he has 2.5 years left, or essentially did. Why wouldn't the person taking that spot fulfill that obligation until the election where it would be held anyway? And secondly, is that based on prior arrangements where we voted by seat and not by popular vote?
The person that you're appointing, according to the statute, given the timing, is only being appointed until the November election, and then at the November election, there's the seat will then be open for election, and that one once that person's elected, they then fill or hold the office for the balance of the unexpired term of Jim's office, which would be 2 years.
Well, we'll investigate this in the future. My preference would be the way Chris stated it. It'd be the
2.5 years.
Yeah, the remainder of the term. We'll see if we're allowed to do that by El Dorado County statutes and by California election laws, if they apply.
Well, you're the appointment. The statute spells out that if the vacancy came open more than 130 days before the next election, then the person that you appoint only serves till that next election. If the vacancy had come within 130 days of the next election, then the person you appoint would fill the entire unexpired term of the vacancy, which would be 2.5 years.
Is this anything, I understand that's what the statute said, is this anything we can change, or are our hands tied by the county?
You're tied by statute.
Okay.
Right now, staff
It's got,
county.
Okay. All right.
Just like everything else in our lives.
We can hash this out later, but thanks, Gary. I appreciate that.
sure.
Okay, let's move on to item B. I'm assuming you're out there, Evo.
I am.
Okay, you're going to talk to us about the groundwater management plan update.
Okay. I want to share my screen.
All right, Evo, I made you the presenter, and I will share your screen.
Hello.
It's like white.
It's got chocolate.
Put it all over the place.
So can everybody see the screen or see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon again, Board members. Board agenda item 6B involves the district entering into a second amended and restated MOU with the El Dorado County Water Agency. Cooperatively, groundwater resources and jointly implement the DWR approved alternative for the Tahoe South Basin, which from here in I'm going to refer to as the gas station.
Hey, Evo, pardon me for interrupting, but I can't even hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kind of breaking up. I don't know if you could get a little clearer talking to the phone or wherever you're on.
Brian,
Brian, is there a way that you can mute the boardroom to prevent that background noise just during those presentations? And if there's questions, unmute them. I think that might help with sound quality.
Yeah, I can mute the boardroom for now, but then we won't be able to ask any questions.
Well, if we have a question, I'll just wave at you. You unmute us.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, does this sound a little better?
Yeah, you hear me?
Sounds much better, at least online.
Okay, thanks, Shelley. The district and El Dorado County Water Agency are both recognized as groundwater sustainability agencies in the TBS basin. Since November of 2015, the district has been recognized as the exclusive GSA for the portion of the TBS basin lying within its LAFCO service area boundary, which is this area shown in green. In September 2016, the county water agency and the district first entered into an MOU to formalize the district and the agency's agreement to cooperatively manage the groundwater resources and to coordinate implementation of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. And this would be on the county agency's behalf for the portions of the basin which lie outside the district service area boundary, which is these areas shown in light yellow. In 2017, the district and the county water agency entered into an amended and restated MOU to cooperatively manage groundwater resources and to coordinate implementation of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. At that time, the county water agency submitted a GSA notification informing DWR of its intent to serve as a GSA for the portion of the TBS basin lying outside the district service area boundary. In September 2017, the county water agency was formally recognized by DWR as the exclusive GSA for that area. In 2016, the district, with support of the county water agency, submitted its 2014 groundwater management plan, along with additional plans, reports, and other documents related to the plan, to the California Department of Resources for evaluation as an existing plan alternative. In July 2019, DWR approved the existing plan alternative and required that the district submit an updated groundwater management plan to DWR by January 1, 2022. Under the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, GSAs with approved groundwater sustainability plans or alternatives are required to periodically review and assess their GSAs every 5 years. The updated groundwater management plan would satisfy this requirement and would serve as a DWR approved alternative for implementation by both the district and the county water agency within their respective jurisdictions. The second amended and restated MOU is an update to the MOU entered into by the district with the county water agency in June of 2017. The second amended and restated MOU requires both parties to perform activities required to implement the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. These include revising and updating the DWR approved alternative, adopting the updated alternative for implementation within the respective jurisdiction, adopting new or amended ordinances to coincide with the updated alternative, resubmitting the adopted alternative and accompanying ordinance to DWR for review and approval, and taking the necessary actions required to implement the updated alternative. The second and amended MOU also requires both parties to perform activities required to accomplish the purpose of the MOU. These activities include maintaining a list of interested parties, conducting public outreach and engagement, conducting investigations analyzing and sharing data, approving and collecting groundwater management fees if necessary, pursuing financial assistance for state grant opportunities, using third-party consulting services for actions such as groundwater modeling, data collection and reporting, and conducting other activities that may be needed to maintain compliance with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. Lastly, the second amended and restated MOU includes several other provisions agreed to by both parties with regard to information sharing, costs, the term of the MOU, mutual indemnification and protection, dispute resolution, and points of contact, which under the agreement, the district would serve as the point of contact for implementation of the approved alternative with DWR for the TVS basin. So with that, I would be glad to answer any questions from the board members about the second amended and restated MOU.
Well, fortunately, Evo, you've given us quite a few presentations, not only recently on the subject, but since its inception. So I don't have any questions. I don't know if any of the other board members do. So if that is all, I would like to move to authorize the district to enter into the second amended and restated memorandum of understanding with the El Dorado County Water Agency to formalize the district's and El Dorado County Water Agency's agreement to continue to cooperatively and sustainability manage groundwater resources within the South Tahoe subbasin and to jointly implement the Department of Water Resources approved alternative in accordance with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. That was bold. Yeah, I was going to say, it was so long, I was afraid that over the garbled phone it wouldn't come across right, and I think I garbled it as bad as it would have happened the other way. So.
I try to make them as long.
By the way, Evo, I'm assuming you wrote that motion, that request.
I couldn't have done it without Gary's help.
Yeah, I suspected that, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Director Cephalon?
Yes.
President Vogelsang?
Yes.
Director Sheehan?
Yes.
Director Exline?
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously.
Okay, payment claims.
I move approval.
All right, thank you, Board.
Oh, by the way, thank you, Evo.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'll move approval of payment of claims in the amount of $1,405,174.46.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Director Cephalon?
Yes.
President Vogelsang?
Yes.
Director Sheehan?
Yes.
Director Exline?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes unanimously as well.
Which brings us to our next item, which is standing and ad hoc committee reports. I do not have anything to report. Do any of the other board members?
Nope.
Okay, and the same goes for board member reports. I do not have anything.
I do not either.
It probably a result of the lockdown. None of the board's doing anything. So, which brings us to the El Dorado County Water Agency Fair.
I do have one thing to report. The El Dorado County Water Agency is doing a financial framework advisory group, and so they asked me to be a part of that. And there is going to be a video web meeting on the 16th of June, and I'll participate in that. And there'll be information that'll be emailed to me prior to that, and I'll probably share that with John and maybe Paul.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up on that. Be a part of that.
It seemed like it would be something we want to participate in.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the word financial. Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the general manager report.
Thanks, Randy. Staffing update. Just wanted to talk about temporary positions and our current full-time vacancies. For the temp positions, we are reviewing 12 remaining requests right now for temporary workers, evaluating each of these on a case-by-case basis based on district finances and work priorities. These are all budgeted, but we are looking to prioritize the needs and downsize or delay many of these as a short-term cost-saving measure due to COVID concerns and make some financial space for a potential assistance program in the future. But I want to talk about one of these temps in IT. One of these has been part of our normal staffing solution since 2012, and that annual contract is just about ready to run out at the end of June and needs to be renewed. So you'll see that next meeting for sure. We're looking for the best ways to downsize, smart size, better coordinate with permanent staff, reassess work and system risk, and bypass the temp agency, which is costly, and instead source any temps internally as much as possible through our own HR department. Obviously, this is more work for our own staff, but well worth the effort in my assessment. On to full-time vacancies. I've been reporting for quite some time about 3 open positions that have gone unfilled, actually since February, in underground repair, water, and heavy maintenance. And then we just received last Friday a 2-week notice out of pumps, which was unexpected retirement. So next week we'll have 4 empty positions. These have been held up due to COVID, not being able to effectively recruit during this time. And now we're also looking to delay some replacements as a short-term cost-saving measure again, while looking for better staffing solutions across the district and across different departments. But we are really struggling right now in the field. We're borrowing staff from one department to help another department to complete the more urgent tasks and some of the most needed work, but it's not sustainable. And I'm worried about the maintenance work that continues to be delayed due to short staffing, and it's also been exacerbated by our split shift scheduling changes that we put in place due to the COVID precautions. So I'd really like to refill 1 or 2 of our highest priority positions that are open now as soon as possible. And I've been working with staff on various solutions for the past couple of weeks. So
John, primarily though, that wasn't so much about our fears about having to cut back expenses due to this. It was mainly due to the fact that the interview process would be difficult with this COVID thing going on, right? And recruitment.
yeah, I think that was initially like we couldn't do the recruitments.
Right.
But I think, I guess from the board's perspective, in the last 6 to 8 weeks, we're looking to potentially do different types of assistance programs and,
and possibly targeted relief.
Possibly targeted relief programs that, have an unknown new expense. So we're trying to look at ways to create some financial space in our budget.
Do you think when the county goes to the next stage of relaxing the rules, that would be a good time to advertise for this lobby one?
Yeah, and we still haven't exactly, I think that pumps position, we just can't go without a pumps position.
Right,
so
right.
We need to refill that as soon as possible. I think we could probably do that in-house. There's a lot of qualified in-house interest. So, we see that as probably a good first option. And then for the next position, that's likely to be more open recruitment and takes more time. And yeah, I think recruitment's can be very challenging these days. So we'll see. We'll have to give it a shot and see what we get. We really would like to fully engage the operations and finance committees on this with as much detail as you'd like to see. So if you want to be more involved or get more detail on this, just let me know and I'll set it up.
Well, to me, if you tell me, it really needs to happen. I think it needs to happen. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, COVID wasn't here with the same sense of urgency exists for those spots.
No, we're actually these were actually
They probably
three were already approved.
Yeah.
We were I was looking at the dates back in February. All 3 of those have been approved. We were just going to start on the recruitment process, putting the schedule together and getting ready to go out and advertise, where should we advertise, etc. There's also different levels of in-house interest, and yeah, that all stopped. and we're just kind of wait to see, what happened with COVID and when would be, a time where we could go for recruitments externally. So, looking at a couple of those to be refilled, and the next two, like I said, we're still thinking maybe wait a little bit and make sure we get the right, long-term staffing solution for those. So, lots of staffing challenges right now during some very turbulent times, and our workload, if anything, has gone up. There's been no reduction to our system needs or staffing needs due to COVID or due to the shutdown. It's really gotten more complex. So, with that, I'll move on to an update on COVID-19 at the district and our response and recovery efforts. Of course, Pitt County and locally, the businesses are opening to varying and limited degrees, and we need them to reopen very badly from an economic perspective. We continue to connect with BART every week. BART supports a phased and careful approach to the reopening with mitigation measures in place to minimize the risk of community spread. They're seeing very few cases in town and not much spread at all. They have ample capacity at the hospital, and they want us to know that they are open. They're open for business, for all business, and that's really great to hear. Back at the district, we remain healthy with no COVID-19 cases. And again, while we are all eager to get back to normal, back to our normal schedules, we do need to remain cautious as the town reopens. And so we're still operating at risk level 3 with some modifications for our COVID-19 response plan. And at risk level 3, this calls for significant telework for much of the office staff and continued efforts to keep our field crews separated, some of them are working several days of the week. So a little more on that. We've been working with our field crews and the union lately to modify that staggered shift schedule in order to attain higher productivity while still keeping significant crew separation. So as a result of these efforts, Team A, Team B, that concept, our field crews will begin working 12-hour shifts next week, 3 days in a row. So with 2 teams, that's 6 days a week, and that will include every other Saturday or Sunday. So, for example, in the first week, Team A works Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Team B would work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the next week there's a day off. Team A would start on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. So this is a transitional schedule, maybe here for a couple months. We'll just do this until we can get a real solid read on community health as we accelerate the reopening in town. But overall, staff is very much appreciates what the district is doing to help keep them healthy, and we also want to recognize and appreciate the board's support on all this as well. So, some thoughts on opening our customer service office. Up front here, we understand the city is opening up to the public with some limited hours. At this point, we haven't really seen a demand or need to reopen our front office, our customer service area to the public just yet. We are really, I think, completely effective and productive with our current operations, some on site, some are teleworking, but the front doors are closed. We are working well with customers and contractors, completing all needed plan reviews, processing permits, and completing all field inspections with COVID-19 safety precautions. If you haven't noticed, we've already installed some plexiglass partitions already in the front office, and we're working on some additional measures in our plan for a reopening in the future, perhaps later this month or next month. Well, if all goes well in terms of community health. So coming up soon, we hope. Our COVID planning team has a call-in at least twice a week. We have larger call-ins with all managers and supervisors about every 2 weeks. And we have had 3 district-wide call-ins, kind of like a virtual town hall. Everybody at the district can call in to help keep us all connected and informed. Communication and collaboration, such critical elements of our response and recovery efforts. On the financial front, if you recall, customer bills are coming due at the end of the month. And last quarter, the board waived late fees, which deferred bills for customers experiencing a cash crunch or other financial hardship. So no late fees, they can defer their bills. My thoughts are we can have that discussion again on waiving late fees at our next board meeting, and we'll continue to monitor our local economic recovery and community health, take a look at our own bill delinquency picture in early July, and then continue deliberations at the board level for a potential customer assistance program coming up, say, in the third calendar quarter of the year. So overall, staff is hoping for the best as the community reopens, but planning for something worse, planning for worse, being financially frugal and cautious at the district as an essential service provider, striving to keep our staff safe and healthy, and working together across all departments to share staff, minimize system risk, and maintain high levels of service to our community and to protect the environment. Really an excellent team effort throughout the district, Randy. Thank you.
All right, thanks, John. Well, that looks like it brings us to the end here, unless we have any staff attorney reports. Anybody have anything? No? Well, you can see past the future meetings. Gary, could you stay on the phone? I'd like to discuss something with you if you've got a few minutes.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, with that being said, the meeting is adjourned.